Right, I'm now going to start on the interior cockpit tub. So I've just spray painted that in the Halfords matte black. I've painted the radiator in silver, and it's time to start the next steps on the construction. So I've got to put a couple of parts into the interior cockpit. I think that might be some kind of dashboard mount, maybe, because the dashboard possibly have to go on top of that. You've got the foot pedals, which I've painted, and eventually that will sit into the interior chassis with the hole there for the engine. On the previous page, it's just basically the wheels and rims and tyres and the axle rods, which I've already explained in the previous update. So I'll show you what I've done so far. So I've painted the pedals, which is that. So looking on the GM website, GM Authority, the actual arms of the pedals are like a gunmetal silver. So I've painted those. And then the actual pads on the actual foot pedals themselves, I've just painted those in matte black. The mount is in matte black. That piece there, which is that piece. So I've just painted this sprue in the matte black spray, because all this is going to be black anyway. Those are going to go on top of the engines, on top of the engine in a future step. So it's just mainly that part that I want next. Also, the exhaust pipes that connect into the engine there, one here and one here, I've just painted those in gunmetal after I primed the sprue. So those are now ready to go on now. So it's time to start this bit of construction. Right, so I've just fitted the dashboard mount. There's a little channel there and a little channel, well, a little hole, square hole there and there. It's an angle slightly, and I just slotted those in. No glue required. There it is there. See them? One there right in the centre, one there right in the centre. You just plop those in. I didn't even need to glue it. But before I put that in, I put the pedals in, the pedal assembly, two little holes and a little square indentation, and just whack the glue in there, and then put the dashboard mount. So now when it comes to mounting this, as it says on the plans here, you got these four little L-shaped raised bits. So you got one there, one there, one there and one there, and basically the interior tub just drops on there. You've got the hole for the engine, and you just line that up. So I don't know if you can make it out, it's just lined up on the corner of the back edge just behind the seat, and just move that round slightly. And the radiator, those two little L shapes there, they surround the radiator. So I'm assuming I'll just put a drop of glue in each corner, but that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Right, welcome back. My voice sounds a bit croaky because I woke up Christmas Day with a sore throat. I then took a COVID test and it came back bloody positive. So Christmas hasn't been really good for me, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan of Christmas anyway. So unfortunately, because I had to isolate, I couldn't watch my wife and kids open their presents and see the looks on their faces. Even though they stood by the door after they had opened their presents and said, "Dad, thank you very much, you know, really well chuffed." And I got some really good presents as well, but like I said, I couldn't watch them open the presents. So while they was opening the presents, I've done a bit more work on the Corvette. So here's what I've done. Right, so turning the camera around and putting the flash on. Right, I'm on the next page of construction, which is the start of the interior tub. So you've got, I think, what is a dashboard mount and the pedals, and there's a tiny little AP Racing decal on that. You then mount the interior tub into the under chassis floor. Do you remember them little square cutouts I showed you, the little slight raised cutouts? You just line them up and just drop a glue in each corner. And then you've got the exhausts that come off the side of the engine. Now those are a bit of a pain in the arse to get in. So you've got to get them inside, because you've got this side wall here, and then link them to the the 4 holes with the 2 pegs, 1 on each outer. And then you've got to curl it round into that cutout there. Right, so that's what you've got to do. So inside there, you've got like 2 pegs. Those 2 in the middle haven't got pegs on, but you've got 4 holes. So you have to link them into there first, and then bring it down slightly, and then you've got to curl it round into that little slot there, that little channel. Then once you've got it into that channel, you've got to, actually you line it up first, because that's like a little channel there. So you line all that up and then push it into the hole, put your glue in, and just put a couple of strips of tape in there. And then just got my Tamiya extra thin. Once I'd reline them up, you have to use your tweezers to get them to line up. Once you've done that, just get your glue and just drop it in. So that's both sides. The pedals, they're all in now. 2 little holes, and there's 2 little pegs on the bottom of the pedals and 2 little holes, and you just line them up and drop the glue in. You've got the dashboard mount. That just drops on. Where did that drop on now? Yes, so there's a little square cut out there, and a little square cut out there, and there's a little square peg on the actual dashboard mount, and you just drop that into place and then just glue around it. So that's that page done. So going on to the next page. Oh, I've got to pause this a sec. Right, so turning the page properly over, you've got I think it's what's the last bit of the engine components. So you've got like, it looks like a piston cover, that's in gunmetal, and then you've got the engine covers in the various colours, and then you've got like this canister, whatever the hell that is, that's in aluminium, blue and black for the handle, and then all the rest of the parts are just painted in black, which is mostly backboard, a bit of roll cage, dashboard and their components, and a bit more roll cage. So there's all them parts. So you got your backboard, you got the engine fan that goes behind that, I think, bucket seat which is painted in anthracite, but Revell have notably omitted the seatbelt decals. So hopefully I can I'll get my red ribbon and create some decal seat belts, or maybe I've got some spare seatbelt decals in my stash somewhere. Painted the steering wheel. There's a decal that goes on there with all the buttons and the knobs and switches, and everything else is just painted in the matte black. The engine covers, I've done like, I don't know what those are, just painted. I think them are holding down clips in the silver. You got the holding down clip for the main engine cover there. I've just 1mm masking tape, sealed the edges with my Pledge floor cleaner, the Future, and then just painted on the silver. And then everything else, like I said, is just painted in black. There's that engine piston cover that'll sit on top of there, that's painted in gunmetal. So now all these have been spray painted and touched up. I've now got to put all this in there, and I've got to detail the dashboard because there ain't no decal for that either. So I've just got some images off the GM Authority website and just painted on the knobs and switches. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Right, just a little warning for you. I'm now putting the engine covers onto the piston mount, piston block, whatever. What you do, apparently, according to the plans, is you put the piston mount on, and I've realised I've just screwed up. I should have put, it looks like I originally put the piston mount on to the top of the engine, covering all that lovely Corvette decals that I put on, and you put them in the corners there, one peg for each corner. But then when I put the engine covers on, there's some cutouts that surround the pistons, and the inside there's two little pegs. Now I got this one on fine while it was mounted on there, but this one wouldn't go on, and I was pushing it down, and I was actually pushing that bit more into the engine when I shouldn't have done. So I took that off, and I've just pushed it down the best I can. That one seems a bit more raised. That one there seems a bit more raised than that one, but I can't get it to go down anymore. It's either that or just cut the peg off, I don't know. But what I've just noticed, I should have actually put that bit of roll cage mount on first, and then you put that piston cover on top of there, so just be wary of that. So let's see what happens with that. I'm going to try and, I don't know what to do with that. I'm going to try and get it off again and then try and press it down a bit more, see if I can get it level. Right, I've now sorted out the problem. You can see there they look a hell of a lot more level. Not only the two pegs wouldn't align properly, it's also them like semicircle cutouts that go around the piston heads. They was too wide, so they wouldn't go in the hole properly. So what I did is I got this cover back off and then just sanded down between each semicircle, and then I got it on properly, and then using my tweezers I got underneath like that with my tweezers, and then I just pushed down with my tweezers, and eventually they're locked into place and they are now level. So just be wary of that when you're putting them engine covers on that little cab. Right, welcome back. I've done a bit more work on the Corvette. When I'd left you, I sorted out the problem with the engine covers for the engine. The one thing it's a shame about the engine, you remember those Corvette decals on the raised Corvette lettering? It covers all that lovely detail up, which is an absolute shame. But I have took a photo of that, so once I've finished the Corvette and put the video, you know, the finale, I'll put some stills on for that. Right, so I mounted the engine cover back on to the top of the engine, just 1, 2, 3, 4 in the little holes. So that's gone on really, really easy. Right, now, Revell in their infinite wisdom decided not to supply seatbelt decals for the bucket seat. So what I've had to do, if you remember a few years ago from my Nigel Mansell FW14, where I did the, I put the figure in and I did the seatbelts, I've used the same ribbon. Also, on my Colin McRae Ford Focus WRC build from last year or the year before, I had some photo etch, and I've used the actual strap adjusters, and I've used the 5-point harness part of it. I tried to thread it through the connectors, but for some strange reason that the ribbon wouldn't go through, because if you see there and there, the holes aren't as wide. So I've had to use some plastic ones. Now the plastic ones have come off, I think it might have been the same kit, to be honest. So I've got my plastic ones there, and I've just fed them through, super glued them on, and then repainted the actual harness clips. And this is my end result. It's looking really, really nice. So I would have usually this bucket seats come with like little holes drilled through the seat, but I couldn't be asked to do that because I wouldn't have been able to sand the inside of it. So basically what I've done is I've just draped the ribbon over the side. You can probably just make it out there as well. I just used a bit of super glue for that. But threading those on was quite easy, to be honest. And then for the actual 5-point harness connector, I've just glued that on top of there because the holes are slightly thinner. And you can see the plastic ones there in the middle. I just, when I put the drop of glue on with a cocktail stick, just pushed it on, let it settle, let it cure. It's gone down really well, and then I've just painted the plastic clips in the silver. But I'm really well chuffed with that. But I just can't understand why Revell decided to omit that. Right, once I finished all that and let it dry and topped it all up, because I had a bit of super glue marks on the actual ribbon itself, so I'll just top that up with a bit of red paint, and it's looking really good. Right, so I just had to sort my cat out because he popped a head round the bloody door and he wanted to get on the window ledge. So next up with the construction, just turning the page back round, is that bit of the back wall with that little tank which I've already put in, and the first part of the roll cage. So it tells you to put this back wall in, which is glued in with a pin on pin hole there and a pin and pin hole there. While it was drying, I then started to get this side wall roll cage in, just one piece. So basically there's a mounting pin there and a mounting pin there and a peg hole, and then what you do is you put that in, and then you manoeuvre the roll cage inside of this little wall, and then there's a cutout on the back wall, and then you just plop that on top, and then you just manoeuvre the side wall forward slightly so that hole will line up to the back of this part of the roll cage arm with a little peg. But you need to widen those holes slightly, and you need to widen those holes slightly, so I just pushed that into place and that went in perfect. Once that had dried, I then glued the bucket seat in. Underneath there, there's a little hole in the bottom of the cockpit tub, and there's a little square rectangular peg on the bottom of the seat itself. You just line that up and glue that into place, and you get this like W triangle shaped bit of roll cage that just sits into a hole there, and then a hole on the center console, and you just drop there and line that up, and that's dried really solid, and that's dried really solid as well. So that's all of that page construction complete. It's time to start the next page of the interior cockpit.